In this talk, we're going to be discussing pacing and modifying your activity. The idea behind this is to understand what is overdoing it, what is underdoing it, and what is the right level for you to be working at. So what is pacing? Pacing is the concept of breaking your activity levels down into smaller, more manageable chunks, or perhaps spreading them out over longer durations of time. Pacing is a way of preventing our pain by managing flare-ups better. So what do we mean by overdoing it? Overdoing it can be put as simply as something that's too much activity for your tolerance at the moment. And now that may be that, for example, your mother-in-law is going to come and stay next week, and you've got to get the house ready. You've got to clean every room in the house, you've got to hoover, you've got to dust, you've got to change the bedding, and you're going to do it all the day before she arrives. That might be a bit too much for you. Ways we can pace this, for example, might be a matter of taking it one day at a time. One day we're going to do the hoovering, the next day we're going to do the dusting, the next day we're going to change the bedding, and so on. Equally, underdoing things can be just as much of a problem. For example, I'm not going to go out on that walk today because it's raining, or I'm too busy to fit in exercise. This means we can sometimes get trapped in a cycle where we do too much activity and then we need to recover and rest from that activity after we've caused a flare-up. As a result of this, we can then become deconditioned because we're spending days on end avoiding activity that we would otherwise be doing. We call this a boom-bust cycle, and that can be shown on the slide by the graph that you can see. You've got one line which curves up and down, which shows the increase in activity level followed by that drop in rest. And you'll see that that person that behaves in that way never really improves over time. The second line that you can see is someone that's pacing their activities. So someone that's doing small amounts of activity, little by little, and gradually increasing that over time. Now this person, you can see that line is gradually sloping upwards, and that person is able to perform more over time than the person that does too much and then rests. So what can you do about it? Perhaps maybe first of all identifying what your triggers are. For example, I know that I can go outside for a walk for 20 minutes before my pain starts getting worse. I'm going to write that down and keep a log of all the things that I'm able to do and not able to do. I can then think about modifying that activity to make it more comfortable. If I know that I can walk for 20 minutes and then my pain starts coming on, I'm going to maybe walk for 15 before taking a short rest in the park, maybe on a bench, wait for that pain to pass, and then carry on for another 15 minutes. And then before you know it, you've done half an hour's walking, which is more than you were able to tolerate before. On occasions where you can't modify your activity, we can think about those pain management strategies that we can fall back on. So using your hot water bottle or taking a hot bath if you find that that helps ease your symptoms. Perhaps for you it's taking pain relief, or stretching, or doing some gentle exercise that you know relieves your symptoms. Key tips for pacing your activities are making sure you add in those extra breaks for rest, or making sure that you plan enough time to do that activity. We can then think about gradually making that activity more challenging. So for example, if I can walk 20 minutes and think about gradually adding on an extra 10% at a time onto that walk, we know that that can keep us comfortable, avoid a flare-up, and mean that you're progressing over time. Just make sure you stick to your plan, be consistent, and be patient. These things take time. The next video will be on healthy lifestyle and well-being.